Welcome to the Business with No Limits podcast, the go-to place for insights from local businesses looking to make an impact on their community. Today, we are thrilled to welcome Trish Tucker May from Passion for Juice. She is also a menopause functional nutritionist with a dedicated focus on gut health and hormonal balance. Trish, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It's wonderful to be here.
Excellent. Trish, talk to me. How did you get started, and talk me through Passion for Juice?
Okay, so I was juicing from a very young age. I was chronically unwell, and at the age of 14, my mum gave me a juicer, and I started to make these amazing taste sensations, and I would be sharing them with people in the house and friends and family. I'd be saying, "Here, drink this. It's really good for headaches, or really good for acne," or so I really started to develop this passion for amazing taste sensations, but also the healing benefits of the fruit and veg that I was using. Now, after university, actually at university, I really had this dream to have a mobile juice business.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even really know what that looked like, but I had this sort of desire to turn my passion into something that I really loved. And what I really loved also was traveling and exploring and inspiring people to be healthy. But I got completely sidetracked in the corporate world. Well, not sidetracked, but it was a good experience. But I kept on getting offered jobs in marketing roles that I was like, okay, off I go from Melbourne to Sydney, off I go from Sydney to England. And when I arrived in Cheltenham working in a global role for Zurich Financial Services, I realized that, wow, there's no juice bars in England. So my dream of having this juice bar never really went away. And I sort of dabbled in having a mobile juice bar in Melbourne and again in Sydney at some festivals there. And I couldn't believe, like, as soon as I opened the doors, there was this big long queue. But I had this corporate job. So I sort of did get a bit sidetracked in the corporate world. In 2003, I finally took the jump and started my mobile juicing business. It was really, really interesting, big learning curve. My first festival was Glastonbury Festival, and I'm preparing to get ready to go to Glastonbury again shortly. So it's 21 years later, still doing my passion, serving juices and smoothies at festivals.
Oh, brilliant. And for the audience listening in, what are some kind of juices or smoothies that you're selling right now?
My most popular of all time is the Immune Booster, and it's pineapple, apple, orange, and ginger. So it's a fresh pressed juice, and I think it's the richness of the pineapple, the creaminess of the pineapple, and the hit of the ginger that makes it very memorable. And it is by far our most popular juice at every single festival, and certainly in Australia and in the UK. So that's a really good one. But we also, probably the most popular smoothie has changed a lot. Like, it used to be the berry magic with lots of berries and banana and apple.
Right.
And now the green smoothie, like the green smoothie with spinach and kale and apple and banana and mango, is really starting to take off. So it's interesting to see the changes in the trends of what people are aware of. When we first started the business, people would come up and say, "Oh, what is it?" And I'd be like, "Oh, it's a mobile juice bar." And then they'd be like, "Oh, okay, I'll have an orange juice." And now, of course, that's the most simple juice. And now people, particularly the change in middle-aged men coming up saying, "Oh yeah, I'll have the detox special," which is beetroot, carrot, celery, ginger, and apple.
Right. Okay.
So it's good to see the trends change.
Excellent. And talk to me, you said you left your corporate life to become I would say, an entrepreneur. And it must be scarier because the comfort of, earning in the corporate sector to starting off out here as an entrepreneur right from scratch. And it's a lot of things. I think a lot of businesses within our community do that. So talk to me, what are some of the key learnings you've had on that journey?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it is so scary. I think I was really lucky. Like, I took a voluntary redundancy from my corporate role. So I had a bit of money to back me to help me get through the first year, because the first year was dire. Even I think I didn't really clearly make profit until my third year. So I think when you're first starting out, you've got to have some savings behind you to help with that cash flow in the beginning. And then settle into the fact that everything takes longer than you ever imagine. So when you go from corporate and you've got finance department, HR department, marketing department, IT department, and then you start out on your own and you're wearing all of those hats, it's so hard. Like if you have a bit of a technical glitch, you know, you're the one who's got to fix it. Or if you're hiring and firing, you've got to allow time for that. And marketing, oh my goodness, you know, I used to run a big marketing department, and then I go to solopreneur marketing budget, which is pretty much zero. So, you know, you have to wear all of those hats yourself. And consequently, if you're not outsourcing that, look, everything just takes so much longer than you can imagine. So allow for that time lag in results, I think, because, you know, it's sort of like, oh, can't go quite as fast as you were used to in the corporate world.
Yeah. Excellent. And you said you've been now 20 years in this business. Looking back, if you have to give some advice to yourself 20 years ago, right? What would you tell yourself?
Firstly, well done for making the jump, because there's no regrets in, you know, having wondered, pondered, if I had have done this, I had have done that. Well done on taking all the risks that I've taken, and take time out, I think. And that's still probably a message for me today, is it's so easy to get so caught up as, you know, working for yourself in a small business, that you're working every hour that God sent. And it's a good reminder to myself now that recreation also is really important. And especially in a business like mine, where I was in leisure and recreation industries. So it felt like, you know, I was keeping people healthy at festivals and events. So that seems like a lot of fun, but it is a lot of hard work. So just settle in for the ride. I think it's, you know, it's been the rich tapestry of people that I've met along the way that's made it truly worth it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, never give up on on your dreams. You know, I've recently published a book, which was another big dream of mine. So I think resilience and never giving up and keeping your eye on the prize is so important. Like, never give up on your dreams. And look, my dream ended up looking really crazy because I was spending summer in the UK and summer in Australia. So, you know, living that endless summer. So it was a crazy, crazy dream. But we made it possible, and we did that for 20 years. So it's been a really exciting ride. So I think, looking back, you know, well done. Good on me for making the jump.
Excellent. And you touch upon resiliency and never giving up. Tell me more about it. What were some of the challenges you faced where you thought, you know what, I'm going to throw in the towel and get back to my corporate life? What pulled you through all these days?
Look, I think probably the biggest learning curve recently, you know, March 2020, when all of our business, you know, everything that we'd built up over 19 years suddenly, you know, completely vanished. You know, we had one festival cancel, and then 10 days later, the whole season cancelled. And my husband and I are both self-employed, and we both require big audiences, you know, big public events, because he performs, and, you know, and everything disappeared in a heartbeat. And look, I had already wanted to make a change. So I was already qualified as a functional nutritionist, and I was developing online programs, and I was running group programs, and I was running my program at retreats. So I had to shift all of that online. And that was a massive learning curve. And at that point, I really felt like giving up. Like, I was already writing my book.
Right.
And I just thought, oh my goodness, you know, after working so hard for so long to build up we would have had probably the most profitable year of our lives with all the events that we had lined up. And for it to disappear in a heartbeat, but I think to be so resilient and enable the dream to look different, but not give up on the dream. And that is still a work in progress, because, you know, the festival circuit is still not back to the pre-COVID levels.
Yes.
By any means, you know, and, you know, people are still very, very cautious. And now we've got the global financial crisis. So, you know, people's pockets are not very deep. So it's how people spend their money in leisure. So, be quick to pivot, but understand that that's almost like starting all over again. And, mid-50s in my menopause, homeschooling teenage boys, that was so hard. And it continues to be hard to make that pivot to online coaching, nutrition coaching, and how that's going to look now in the future. How is it? Yeah, how is it looking differently? What's the terrain? What are the key returns on investment profitability markers in this new business?
Right.
It's quite a hard thing to get a handle on at the moment, I think. So yeah, don't give up on that. Keep learning, keep adjusting, keep changing what's working, keep analyzing what's working, and I think that's at the moment that's probably one of my biggest challenges.
Excellent. And talk to me about, you mentioned about your kids, your husband. How important is that support network around you to help you grow and become the person you want to be, both for yourself and in your business?
Oh, invaluable. When we traveled with our children, they went to school in both countries. So they went to school in Australia and the UK. And now it's funny, my teenager son, who's 16, he says, "Oh, it's a great lifestyle for adults, but not so great for kids." But I think they will look back on this time and the time that they grew up and traveled around to all these festivals. They will look back on it favorably, I hope. But the support from my husband has been invaluable, to keep me grounded and to help out sometimes. Just some of the hard things, the physical things, particularly all the loading, unloading, driving, that sort of thing has been invaluable. And a sounding board, to know when we get a bit anxious, a bit overwhelmed, that we're doing this because it's a lifestyle business, and that has afforded us such an incredible lifestyle to be present with our kids, to be able to travel with our kids, to have our kids with us at work, and have that flexibility that we would never miss any of their schooling or any of their
Right.
plays or any of their, that so has been very important to us.
And what are the top 3 reasons clients buy juices from your mobile unit rather than any other vendor down the road?
Well, I'm very niche. It's
Mhm.
certainly, you can taste the passion. It's like liquid sunshine, so it's super, super healthy. And we are very niche because people go to festivals, they might be hungover, they might, prefer. Well, we do sell coffee as well, but we sell organic coffee.
Right.
Sometimes people are just wanting a coffee and a donut or a burger, or we are the healthy option.
Okay.
But we are definitely the best hangover cure on site. And we get a lot of repeat business. So people, once they've tasted the juice, they feel that transformation in the cells, they will come back.
Okay, great. And talk to me, what are some of the roadblocks to watch out for in your line of work, especially for someone who's trying to go down your path?
uh Look, it's really difficult. One of the biggest problems when we're working with the juice bar at festivals, we have very little power over our location, and we know in a business that location is so key. But that's one big thing out of our power, and the other big thing out of our power is the weather. And so those two things, when the planets align in our business and you get a really good location and really good weather, that can be a fantastic profit. And sometimes those things are out of our control. So, focus on the things that are in our control, and then have contingencies in place for those things that are out of our control. So if we are in a poor location, then we've had to have staff down on the line of where the punters are walking,
Right.
selling, giving out tasters or selling slices of watermelon, just to direct people towards where we are. So yes, we've had certainly our fair share of challenges over the years.
Okay. And talk to me, what does success mean for you?
Peace, happiness, abundance in all things. Having integrity, like I really believe that I can hold my hand on my heart and say that I'm doing good for the community, good for my customers, good for the environment. I'm selling something that I really believe in. So fresh pressed juice is it's got to be the most fun, the most delicious way to stay healthy.
Right.
And my health is really important to me. And I think the health of my clients is really important to me as well. So I'm really passionate about what I do. And I think that also gives me a level of energy and a level of resilience to get through the hard times.
Brilliant. And what's the biggest challenge you're facing in your business right now?
I'm really trying to scale my online program. So I'm with my functional nutrition. I I help women over the age of 40 with bloating and digestive issues. And I've created 2 online programs.
Right.
And now it's about getting those out to the world. Same with my book. I published a book. Now I've got to learn how to sell the book and be more visible. I think that visibility and breaking into new audiences is probably my biggest challenge.
Okay. And what would that mean to you if you achieve those 2 areas of your challenges?
Oh, goodness. Probably a little bit more financial security and residual income, because I've developed those 2 as the lower ticket items. So, the book is entry level and it's quite a good part of the funnel. And then the online programs can free me up to, to have a little bit more time freedom and to have that residual income. So that's why I've done both of those elements, and I've done them now, but now I've got to get out and sell them and get more people buying them.
Excellent. And what would be the title of the book about you if let's say your worst enemy wrote that about you?
If my worst enemy wrote a book about me?
Yes.
Oh, goodness. God, that's a tricky question. So it would have to be something about passion and inspiration and, oh, well, she never gave up, so good on her, or something like that.
All right. Okay. And if you could have coffee with a historical figure, who would you choose?
Mother Teresa.
Tell me more.
Okay, so I did this meditation when I was really stuck on getting my book published. I had quite a big challenge with the publishing house and my photographer, and I did this meditation where Mother Teresa was like a little leprechaun, but she came and sat in a boat with me and helped me row ashore, and it was really rocky seas at the time. And then I stepped out of the boat and everything became calm, and all those people waiting for me on the beach. And she was really pivotal in like feeling, giving me support and knowing that I could do really hard things. So yeah, I'd probably love to sit with her and just, talk about her endless ability to give and to find compassion and to live such a beautiful, inspiring life. Yes, if I could learn a bit from her, that would be really fascinating.
Excellent. And Trish, have you had your I've made it moment yet?
Sometimes when I'm
Sometimes,
when I'm
yes.
sitting when I'm sitting in my hot tub, and sometimes, yeah, when I'm sitting in my hot tub and I published my book and I had my book launch and there was a lot of people at the book launch, and yeah, it's fleeting, but yeah, sometimes I do have that feeling.
Excellent. What's the best book you've read till date?
Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Susan Jeffries, by far my number one best, most influential self-help book. And I read it in my late 20s and I still have that same copy, and it's a very well-read book.
And what's the key biggest learning from that book that you've had?
Yeah, just there's going to be fear if you do and fear if you don't. So just do it. Just get on with it. Just do it and ride through the waves of nerves and maybe anxiety, and just focus on what you really want to achieve and get on and do it.
Brilliant. One of the favorite moments of today's talk with you has been this focus on resiliency, not having any, I would say, doubts about getting out of the corporate life. Even when I asked you the question about, what would you tell yourself 18 or 20 years ago, and you were very confident about that. So that was my favorite moment. What's been your favorite moment of today's podcast?
thinking about, that feeling of, have I made it yet? Do I have that feeling? And yes, I do. And it's funny because it's so fleeting, but just to feel that when it does come, like, it's like, yeah, I remember skipping across my site at Glastonbury Festival one year before we set up, and I was thought, oh my God, I'm in the best spot ever. Like, I'm right opposite the John Peel stage. The weather's going to be sunny. And I was skipping across, like, doing this high five in the air and like, yes, I've done it. And then it's like, oh my goodness, that might have been about 9 years ago. And yes, I've felt that several times since, but it is really fleeting. So it's almost like, oh my God, capture that moment, because this is why we do it, right?
Yes.
And we can forget the magical moments when we're bombarded by stress and overwhelm. We can forget those moments because they're so fleeting, aren't they? Because it's always the next thing to do, or the next bill to pay. I think it's a good reminder. Thank you.
Excellent. And speaking of Glastonbury, how many times have you actually been to that event, selling your juices?
20 years at Glastonbury. So it would have been 9. I think there was one year that they had a year off. So 19 years back. This year will be our 20th year at Glastonbury. Interestingly, I'm not selling juices at Glastonbury this year. I am doing some laughter yoga instead. So that's about pivoting and looking after myself, and not running myself too ragged, because I've got my nutrition business building up. So the business looks a little bit different now. And
Right.
I am catering at some events this year, like more yoga festivals, more smaller events. Glastonbury is so big. So I'm going there with a different hat on. So it's going to be very interesting this year.
Excellent. Do you know how difficult it is for people to get tickets at Glastonbury? Apparently, the tickets are sold off they have a 30-minute window where you can apply for, I think, a year ahead. But it all goes, I think, in less than 30 minutes or less than a few minutes. So you're one of the lucky ones to be there. Trish, thank you for coming over on today's podcast. It was great having you.
Thank you so much.